The land of Eastern Africa, 2 million years before the present, does not announce itself as a place of beginnings. It feels older than beginnings, worn down by cycles of rain and drought that have repeated beyond memory. The ground is hard in the dry season, cracked into plates that shift underfoot. When the rains come, the earth softens, turning to mud that clings and pulls. Rivers do not flow gently. They swell, then retreat, leaving behind wide scars of silt and bone. The air carries the smell of grass, dust, and decay. This is not a landscape built for comfort. It is a landscape that demands constant attention, where survival depends on reading small signs and responding before it is too late. Across the plains and along the broken edges of woodland, life moves cautiously. Herds of antelope drift like shadows across the grass, always alert, always ready to scatter. Smaller creatures hide in burrows or cling to the edges of trees. Above them, birds circle, waiting for weakness. Nothing here exists alone. Every movement is watched by something else, measured, judged. In this world, to hesitate is to invite death. Among the many forms moving through this land is a small group of early humans. They are not yet confident walkers of the open plains, but they are no longer bound to the forest either. Their bodies are slight, their faces projecting forward, their arms still strong from a recent past spent climbing. They move upright, but not effortlessly. Each step carries tension, as if balance itself must be negotiated anew every time. These are Homo Habilis, handy humans, named not for their strength or speed, but for a subtle shift taking place inside their skulls and hands. Their brains are larger than those of their ancestors, but not dramatically so. What matters is not size alone, but organization. Inside their heads, connections are forming that allow memory to stretch further back, anticipation to reach slightly further forward. Their hands, with their precise grips, are capable of holding stones and striking other stones with intent. These simple actions, repeated again and again, are beginning to alter the rhythm of their lives. They live close to the edge of hunger. Food is never guaranteed. Some days bring fruit or roots dug from the soil. Other days bring nothing at all. Meat, when it appears, is a rare and dangerous prize. Homo habilis does not hunt large animals in the way later humans will. Instead, they linger at the margins, watching, waiting. They approached carcasses left behind by larger predators, testing the air, listening for movement. A single mistake can mean death, but the reward is immense. Fat and marrow offer energy that plant foods cannot match. Each successful scavenging leaves its mark not only on their bodies, but on their minds. The presence of predators shapes every decision they make. Lions, larger and more muscular than those of later ages, move through the grass with quiet authority. Their ancestors are powerful, with broad chests and heavy limbs built for explosive speed. They are not merely hunters, they are enforcers of the landscape's rules. Where they walk, other creatures adjust their paths. Where they feed, the ground becomes a place of silence and tension. And then there is another shadow, less familiar, less predictable. Along the edges of the plains, a massive wolf-like predator moves with a different rhythm. Its lineage stretches back into a colder past, yet here it is, adapted to this land. Larger than any modern wolf, its head is heavy with bone and muscle. Its jaws are built to crush. Its legs carry it across long distances without pause. This is a giant wolf, an apex scavenger and hunter combined, capable of confronting competitors rather than avoiding them. Unlike the cats, which rely on stealth and short bursts of speed, this wolf endures. It follows, waits, and tests. Its intelligence is not abstract, but practical, shaped by generations of survival among rivals. It understands that strength alone is not enough. Timing matters, opportunity matters. For Homo habilis, these predators are not abstract threats, they are daily realities. The smell of a carcass drifting on the wind can mean nourishment or annihilation. A rustle in the grass can signal escape or ambush. The early humans moved together, not out of affection, but necessity. Alone, they are vulnerable. Together, they can watch in more directions, make more noise, appear slightly larger than they are. Their social bonds are fragile, still forming. There is no language as it will later be known, but there are sounds, gestures, shared glances that carry meaning. A sharp cry can signal danger. A repeated motion can draw attention. These small acts of communication are not deliberate innovations, they are responses shaped by pressure and fear. One season, the rains are lighter than expected. The grass dries early, turning brittle and yellow. Herds move farther away in search of water. Predators follow. The land grows quieter, but not safer. Hunger tightens its grip on every living thing. Bones from old kills lie scattered across the ground, bleached by the sun. For Homo habilis, this is a dangerous time. Scarcity forces them to take risks they might otherwise avoid. Near a shrinking riverbank, a smell cuts through the dry air. It is strong, metallic, unmistakable. Something large has died nearby. The group slows, their movements cautious. Eyes scan the horizon, ears strain for sound. They do not rush forward. Experience has taught them that death attracts more than one claimant. The carcass lies partially submerged in mud, the remains of a young ungulate brought down by predators during the night. Its flank is torn open, ribs exposed. Flies swarm in thick clouds. The marks on the flesh tell a story. Large cat teeth have been here. The lions have fed, but not finished. That alone is unusual. Lions rarely abandon a kill unless disturbed or satisfied beyond need. The early humans linger at a distance, crouched low, bodies tense. Some grip stones, rough and heavy, chosen not for their sharpness, but for their weight. These stones are not weapons in the modern sense. They are extensions of the arm, tools meant to strike bone, to crack, to break. The early humans do not yet know how to shape stone with precision, but they understand force. Time passes slowly. The sun climbs higher. No lions appear. Hunger presses harder. A decision forms, not in words, but in shared glances and subtle shifts of posture. A few individuals move forward, step by careful step. Others remain behind, watching the grass. They reach the carcass and begin to work quickly. Stones strike bone, sending dull echoes into the air. Hands tear at flesh, pulling free what remains. There's no ceremony, only urgency. Each moment spent here increases the risk. The sound of cracking bone carries farther than they realize. From beyond the rise of the plain, the giant wolf lifts its head. Its nose catches the scent of blood and decay, layered with something else, human. It has encountered these small, upright creatures before. They are not strong, but they are persistent. They appear where death lies, taking what others have earned. Sometimes they flee at the first sign of danger. Sometimes they stand their ground, making noise, throwing stones. The wolf does not fear them, but it respects their unpredictability. It moves toward the river with steady purpose, not rushing, conserving energy. Its presence is silent at first, masked by wind and distance. The early humans do not notice until it crests a low ridge, its massive form outlined against the sky. The reaction is immediate. Bodies stiffen. One individual lets out a sharp cry, high and brief. Hands tighten around stones. Some step back instinctively. Others freeze. The wolf does not charge. It stops, assessing. Its eyes move over the group, counting, measuring. It sees fear, but also something else, coordination. Behind the wolf, the grass shifts again. A lioness emerges, drawn by the same scent. Her movements are fluid, confident. She has returned to reclaim what was left behind. The appearance of the wolf does not surprise her, but it does not please her either. This kill belongs to her pride. The presence of humans is an irritation, the presence of the wolf a challenge. For a moment, all three species stand within sight of one another, bound by hunger and caution. The air feels heavy, charged. The early humans are caught between forces far greater than themselves. Escape routes are limited. The riverbank behind them is slick with mud. The open plain offers little cover. This is not yet a battle, but it is more than a standoff. It is a convergence, a rare alignment of lives that do not often meet so closely. Each participant carries its own history, its own instincts, shaped by millions of years. The lioness steps forward first, her muscles rippling beneath her skin. She issues a low growl, a warning meant for both wolf and human. The wolf responds by lowering its head slightly, baring its teeth. It does not retreat, it does not advance, it waits. The humans feel the shift in the air. Panic rises, but something holds them in place. Perhaps it is the knowledge that running may trigger pursuit. Perhaps it is the presence of others at their sides. One individual, older than the rest, raises both arms and strikes stones together, creating a sharp, unnatural sound. It is not planned, it is instinctive. The sound cuts through the tension. The lioness pauses. The wolf's ears flick forward. The noise is unfamiliar, disruptive. The humans repeat it, louder now, stones clashing, voices rising into rough shouts. They do not understand why they do this. They only know that stillness feels more dangerous than action. The effect is uneven. The lioness hesitates, calculating risk. She has cubs elsewhere, a pride to consider. Injury is costly. The wolf, however, is less easily deterred. It steps closer, testing the human's resolve. One stone flies through the air, striking its shoulder with a dull thud. The impact is not painful enough to injure, but it is surprising. Another stone follows, then another. The wolf snarls, snapping its jaws, but it does not rush in. The humans are discovering something in this moment, though they cannot name it. Together, they can alter the behavior of larger animals. Noise, movement, and numbers create an effect that none of them could achieve alone. The lioness decides first. With a final growl, she turns away, slipping back into the grass. The kill is not worth the uncertainty. There will be other hunts. Her departure shifts the balance. The wolf remains. It circles slowly, eyes never leaving the humans. The carcass lies between them, torn and trampled. The humans continue their display, voices raw, arms aching from repeated strikes. Fear pulses through them, but it is mixed now with something else, determination. At last, the wolf steps back. It does not flee, it simply withdraws, melting into the tall grass as quietly as it came. The humans do not pursue. They stand frozen for a few breaths, listening, waiting for the sound of return. When none comes, their movements soften. Some collapse to the ground, exhausted. Others return to the carcass, though there is little left to take. What has just occurred is not a victory in any heroic sense. No territory has been claimed, no predator has been slain, yet something fundamental has shifted. For the first time, these early humans have not merely avoided danger, they have confronted it and endured. The memory of this encounter will not be stored as a story told around a fire. There are no fires yet, no stories as such, but it will be carried in altered behavior, in the way they stand a little closer together the next time they approach a carcass, in the way their eyes scan the horizon, not only for threat, but for each other, in the growing tendency to respond collectively rather than scatter. Over generations, these small changes accumulate. Groups that hold together survive more often. Individuals who can read the intentions of others, who can anticipate reactions, contribute more to the group's success. Slowly, without awareness, selection begins to favor minds that are tuned not only to the environment, but to social dynamics. The predators continue to rule the land. Lions hunt, wolves roam, death remains constant, but the relationship has shifted subtly.
Humans are no longer only prey or thieves at the margins. They are becoming participants in a complex negotiation, one that involves risk, cooperation, and restraint. As the sun sets over the plain, shadows stretch long across the ground. The early humans move away from the river, bellies slightly fuller, nerves still tight. Behind them, the carcass lies silent, already being reclaimed by insects and birds. The wolf watches from a distance, its yellow eyes reflecting the fading light. The lioness has returned to her pride, the hunt already forgotten. Nothing in the landscape marks this moment as special. The grass bends in the wind as it always has. The river continues its slow retreat. Yet within the fragile minds of a small group of humans, something has changed. A boundary has been tested and found, if not breakable, then negotiable. This is how deep history moves, not through single dramatic triumphs, but through moments of pressure that leave faint traces. The land does not remember them, fossils rarely capture them, but life carries them forward, encoded in behavior, in instinct, in the quiet confidence to stand together a little longer than before.
The seasons turn without regard for what has passed. Dry gives way to wet, then back again, as it has for longer than memory can reach. The land absorbs everything and remembers nothing, yet the lives moving across it are not unchanged by what they have endured. They carry the past forward in quieter ways, in patterns of movement and reaction that slowly diverge from what came before. The group of Homo habilis does not return to the river for some time. When they do, they approach differently. They linger longer at a distance. They wait for more eyes to scan the grass. Their steps are slower, more deliberate. Stones are chosen earlier and held more firmly. None of this is planned. No individual decides that behavior must change. The change emerges from unease, from bodies remembering fear before minds can name it. Predators notice these differences, though not consciously. Lions still test the margins, still rush when weakness appears. The giant wolf still follows trails of scent across the plain, still gauges risk against reward, but encounters no longer unfold exactly as before. The humans are less likely to scatter at the first sign of danger. They make noise sooner. They cluster more tightly. The cost of approaching them has increased, just enough to alter outcomes at the edges. The wolf remembers as well, not as humans remember, but through association. The sound of stone striking stone now carries weight. It signals resistance, not surrender. The wolf adapts, choosing its moments more carefully. It favors solitude and surprise, avoiding direct confrontation unless advantage is clear. Its intelligence, shaped by competition, keeps it alive in a landscape that offers little mercy. Over years, these interactions repeat in different forms. Sometimes the humans retreat and lose access to food. Sometimes predators push closer and force them to flee. Occasionally, the humans hold their ground long enough to feed. Each outcome leaves a faint impression. Survival does not belong to the boldest or the strongest, but to those whose behavior bends without breaking. The environment itself applies pressure. As climates fluctuate, forests thin and grasslands expand. Open spaces grow wider, offering fewer places to hide. For small-bodied humans, exposure increases risk. At the same time, visibility improves. Distant movement can be detected earlier. Threats can be tracked before they are close. The balance between danger and opportunity shifts again. Homo habilis begins to spend more time at the boundary between woodland and open plain. Trees offer refuge, grasslands offer food. Living between them requires constant adjustment. It is here that cooperation matters most. Individuals who wander too far alone rarely return. Groups that stay within sight of one another endure longer. Stone use becomes more consistent, not yet refined, not yet standardized, but more intentional. Certain rocks are favored, certain strikes are repeated. Hands learn through repetition, muscles remembering angles and force.
Tools remain simple, but their presence changes behavior. Bones can be opened more quickly. Time spent at a carcass shortens. Risk is reduced not by strength, but by efficiency.
The predators respond in turn. Lions adapt their hunting patterns, moving kills away from open areas when possible. The wolf becomes more cautious, more selective. Competition between predators intensifies as resources fluctuate. Sometimes they clash directly, teeth and claws meeting in violent bursts that leave scars or end lives. Sometimes they avoid each other, each yielding ground when the cost seems too high. The humans observe these interactions, though they do not analyze them. They learn which signs signal imminent danger and which suggest hesitation. A lion's posture, a wolf's pacing, the silence of birds overhead. Knowledge accumulates slowly, unevenly, passed not through teaching but through shared experience. Young individuals watch older ones. Fear spreads faster than confidence, but confidence lasts longer once earned. There are losses. Members of the group disappear, taken in sudden attacks or weakened by injury and illness. Death is not rare enough to be remarkable. It is part of the landscape, as constant as the wind. Yet each loss tightens bonds among those who remain. The absence of a familiar body alters routines, creates gaps that must be filled. Over generations, the shape of the group changes. Infants born into these conditions grow up surrounded by caution and alertness. Their earliest memories are of movement and sound, of clustering close when danger approaches. Their nervous systems are tuned early to social cues. Isolation feels wrong. Proximity feels safer. This is not kindness or empathy as later humans will know it. It is alignment, synchronization. Bodies moving together reduce uncertainty. Multiple sets of eyes reduce surprise. Multiple voices amplify presence. In a land dominated by predators, appearing larger and more organized can matter as much as speed. The giant wolf's lineage does not last forever. Climate shifts and competition reshape its world. Over time, its kind diminishes, replaced by forms better suited to new conditions. Lions persist longer, their adaptability allowing them to survive changes that erase others. The humans continue alongside them, still fragile, still vulnerable, but no longer unchanged by each encounter. The moment by the river does not echo as a story, but as a pattern. It becomes part of the quiet inheritance passed down through behavior. Stand together, make yourself known, do not flee too quickly. These tendencies are not rules. They are inclinations, shaped by countless small confrontations rather than single decisive victories. As Homo habilis slowly gives way to later forms, these inclinations deepen, brain structures supporting memory, anticipation, and social awareness expand incrementally. Hands grow more capable, tools become sharper, more deliberate. Fire will come much later, language later still, but the foundation is already laid in these early, wordless standoffs. The land remains indifferent. Rivers shift their courses, plains expand and contract, species rise and vanish. Yet the human presence grows more persistent, not dominant, not secure, but increasingly difficult to erase. Survival becomes less about reacting to immediate threat and more about shaping the terms of encounter. Predators learn to read humans as humans learn to read predators. Each adjusts behavior at the margins. Direct confrontations become rarer, not because danger has vanished, but because cost-benefit calculations have shifted. The landscape becomes a place of negotiated coexistence rather than constant chaos. In the quiet hours before dawn, when mist hangs low over the grass, the world feels suspended. Footprints crisscross the mud near water sources. Some belong to hooves, some to paws, some to bare human feet. They overlap, erase, and reappear with each passing day. No single path dominates.
Homo habilis does not know that it stands near the beginning of a long trajectory. It does not know that its choices, made without words or foresight, will echo across deep time. It only knows hunger, fear, and the fragile relief of surviving another day. The descendants of lions will continue to test human resolve. Wolves will return in new forms, in new lands. The dynamic established here will repeat again and again, reshaped by environment but rooted in the same tension: stand or flee, scatter or cluster, yield or resist. As night falls over the ancient plain, sounds soften, insects rise, distant calls carry through the darkness. The humans settle close together, backs to earth, eyes half closed but alert. Beyond the circle of their presence, predators move through shadow, aware but cautious. Nothing feels resolved, nothing feels finished. The balance holds, fragile and temporary, as it always has. Deep history does not conclude. It continues, step by careful step, shaped by moments that leave no monument behind.